Our next guest has quite the unique diet. For the last 5 years, he's been enjoying meals consisting of raw spleens, kidneys and even raw chicken.
Yeah, that's right. You heard it right. Despite doctors' warnings, he claims his controversial diet has made him feel even better than ever, gives him the urge to howl like a wolf.
Well, let's dive into this wild story and find out why. Weston Rowe joins us now live from his home in Nebraska. And Dr. Zoe is with us here around the table. Morning to you both. Good morning. Just a quick reminder, if you want to have your say, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now. Good morning, Weston. Thank you so much. I know it's about 5:24 in the morning there, so thank you for getting up nice and early for us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Good morning, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Good morning. So tell us, how much meat do you consume in a week? Is it every single meal?
Yeah, we eat raw meat every meal here, and I do about 2 pounds a day, so about, I'd say, 14 pounds a week.
Right, and how long have you been doing this for, Weston? And what was the catalyst for it?
Well, it's been about, I would say, 5.5 years. It'll be 6 years here in August. And what happened was I just kind of started having some health issues late in my 20s and early 30s, and skin problems and brain fog and fatigue and just a lot of issues that people face today. And I decided to take matters in my own hands and go ahead and address it with diet, because I knew that eating good food always made me feel better. And so I just kind of took one step at a time and basically ended up here.
Eating good food undoubtedly is going to make you feel better, but there's a big difference from eating sort of a broad-range diet of fruit and vegetables and protein to then just sticking with the meat and then raw meat at that. How did you decide that that was going to be the route that you went down?
Yeah, it was. It was basically it was like a path that I followed, and a lot of people end up here. It started with going gluten-free. That's a big movement. People cut out bread and grains and things like that. And I noticed a huge increase in my health by just cutting out gluten.
Yeah.
So I may have had some kind of non-celiac gluten intolerance or celiac disease or something going on. So I decided to take it a step further and cut out all carbohydrates. And so then they call that the carnivore diet. And I was cooking just meat and eggs and eating bacon and things like that all day long for about a month. And then I discovered the raw meat diet, which people claim makes you feel even better. So then I just stopped cooking my food and I felt even better right away. So I just ended up here and I just never stopped doing it.
So, Weston, obviously, we were actually talking about it in the break before we came to you, and we were talking about eating sushi and eating raw steak and steak tartare and things like that. We've all definitely done that, but you eat everything. What was it like the first time, I don't know, you ate chicken or something different? What was the kind of the taste like, and also just even the feeling?
The mental experience of doing that as well.
Yeah, well, I guess the first thing I ever tried was a steak, like a ribeye steak. I guess that's probably the easiest thing to start out with. Most people can usually handle that. And it wasn't too bad, really. Like, I had a little bit of I guess, kind of a gag reflex because it was such a new texture and flavor. It took a while for my palate to adjust to just the bland taste, because we're so used to eating, salty, sugary foods our whole life. When we go back to what I believe is our natural diet, it can be quite a shock. So it took me a while to adjust to the flavors. And I actually gagged for a long time, but I knew it was the healthiest diet I could eat, and eventually got to the point to where it's very interesting. I actually really enjoy the flavors now.
And it's, as Kat was saying, it's about coming up to 5:30 in the morning, so it's breakfast time. The step from beef is one thing, but chicken is something else that you will eat raw. Was that a hard step to overcome, to actually take? Because we're told so often that you must cook chicken. Chicken can be really, really dangerous if it is eaten raw.
Yeah, that's a common thing that a lot of people believe, and I find it actually kind of funny, because I've eaten like hundreds of raw chickens over the last 5 years, and I've never gotten what people call salmonella poisoning. So I think there's a lot more going on to the germ theory, that germs cause disease and you can get sick from eating raw meat. I think there's a lot more going on there than we're being taught, and I think I'm on a proof of that.
Okay. Yeah, I think you've got some chicken there, haven't you? You're going to eat some chicken for us for breakfast?
Sure, yeah, I got, this is a local raw pastured chicken breast, or this is a chicken, actually, chicken leg. This is from a local farmer. I get everything from local farmers. And yeah, it's really nothing. It's pretty bland. It's not too bad.
Wow. So while you chow down on that for a second...
What's the texture like, Wes? Can I just ask, what's the texture like of that?
Well, I mean, it's just squishy and you know, a little bit slimy.
It's like eating chicken. Dr. Zoe's here in the studio. Yeah. Now, you know, it's an interesting point, isn't it? He thinks there's lots of things going on about germ theory and with regards to what's in there. We can't recommend everybody or anybody goes and eats raw chicken, right?
No. Well, I would advise definitely not doing that. I mean, there's some things Weston said there is getting it from a local farmer. It's locally sourced. His farmer knows he's eating it raw. So I'm sure, you know, there are certain things like that. If it's stored properly and looked after, you can reduce the risk. But we also know that in America, 48 million people every year end up getting foodborne illnesses. So things like salmonella, campylobacter, clostridium, hepatitis A, worms, especially with pork. There's a really nasty type of worm infection you can get from raw pork that can then go to your brain, into your eyes. So there are, we know, lots of infectious diseases that we see. I've seen patients who've had it, and there are certain things you can do to reduce the risk of that. But, you know, we've all had a steak cooked rare.
Yeah,
I have.
but that was what we were talking
And with red meat, these bacteria, these pathogens, only tend to survive on the outside, which is why it usually has to be seared all the way around. The difference with chicken is that those pathogens can travel all the way through the flesh, which is why it has to be thoroughly cooked. The same with mincemeat. You have to thoroughly cook it.
We're just going... What's that? Is that a kidney of some sort?
Is it kidney or is it liver?
Grass-fed beef liver.
Grass-fed beef liver. OK.
So, you know, liver, very high in nutrients. It's something that some people may like to eat cooked. I wouldn't recommend eating it raw. Important point that people who are pregnant should not consume liver because it has toxic levels of vitamin A.
What about that point that Weston makes, that actually it's not only... It's improved his health, he feels euphoric when he's eating it, and actually it's made him, given him energy, and it's cleared the brain fog, and he feels all around much better.
Well, I think one of my other concerns about a diet that is 99% meat is nutritional deficiencies as well. There are lots of nutrients that we need as human beings that we can't get from animal sources, but I'm sure something Weston and I would very much agree on is that the typical modern-day diet in the UK and in the US is far too much ultra-processed foods.
Yes.
I think in the US, it makes up about 70% now of a person's typical diet. And that is toxic to us. It's not good for us. And one way to get rid of all those processed foods is to do a carnivore diet. I don't necessarily think it's the healthiest way. Some people go vegan and cut out all ultra-processed foods and can be very healthy as well. We are omnivores, so we are designed to be capable of eating both meat and plant foods, and you can cut out ultra-processed foods and do that, which I would pose as likely to be the healthiest option.
Weston, do you miss anything? Are you missing any food that you don't no longer eat? Ice cream, things like that?
Well, actually, we make raw ice cream here at the house. So we get raw milk and raw cream and raw eggs and raw honey, and we mix it all up and we make our own ice cream here. So we try to, you know, sneak in little healthy snacks there.
And you've managed to get your girlfriend to do this diet as well with you, Weston, correct?
Yeah, and she's now my wife. And we have a baby.
Congratulations.
Yeah, she does it. She does it too. We all eat it. And her health has never been better too. It's been such a fun journey.
And then if you have a young family as well, what will you do with the young family?
Oh, they're going to be eating with us as well, for sure. We're all going to be eating that way, definitely.
It's absolutely fascinating. Weston, thank you for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed your breakfast. It was extraordinary watching you eat it. I'm going to imagine what the flavour was like. And we should reiterate, particularly, Zoe, with the chicken.
Yes, and I think for anybody who, if they do go on to have a family during pregnancy, this is not safe. And for children as well, they can't get all the nutrients they need from animal products alone.
Yeah, we do not recommend that you eat raw chicken. Fascinating stuff. Thank you, Weston.
Thanks, Weston.
Zoe, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.